Gatwick Airport, one Monday in September. British Caledonian flight BR895 from Paris is down safely, 3 minutes ahead of schedule. Weather clear, temperature on the ground 15 degrees centigrade. Four hours from now, this aircraft will make its last routine flight of the day, an 80-minute journey north. But it'll carry no passengers. There'll be no cabin crew, no baggage, and no seats. The aircraft is now flight BR957, destination Edinburgh, cargo, mail. Every night, the Edinburgh mail flight carries 11 tons of first-class letters from London, destined for homes all over Scotland, the new night mail.
Altimeter 1013.
Aircraft are only one part of the system that every day delivers Britain's mail. Letters posted earlier in the day have, since mid-afternoon, been on their way north by train. The post office relies on both. Trains to pick up the mail and often to sort it as they travel. Aircraft, quite simply, for speed. Glasgow, 7 a.m. Letters from England are dropping onto doormats all over the city. But the job isn't as simple as that. For from Glasgow, much of the mail must go on, beyond the tight-packed city streets.
Far from the magnets of city and capital, the pull of money, the gold-seamed runways, the sweat and tears of machinery, far from all crowds, across the blank pane of the Atlantic, we come to these islands, the loosened edges of a nation. Their bits and pieces scattered like iron filings, their hills heaped up like slaughtered horses, their rocky outcrops like jawbones clenched against the wind. Here Highland cattle drink from their own shadows. Here thistles flash their spiky coronets. Here children and grannies live among nooks and crannies. And like a splash of blood against the land's anemia, a rush and flush of excitement, spreading the word where words are hoarded. The red post van comes threading its way to meet the mail plane. That pair of scales balancing in the sky, that winged insect, delicate and clumsy as a dragonfly, which drops in like a friend each morning, kissing with its wheels and its hatch of post bags the upturned face of the earth.
But on an average day coming in on the aircraft, we have maybe 3 bags of airmail. Whereas on Christmas week, we can have anything up to 14 bags of mail coming in, so that we have quite a lot of work to do at that period.
Yet, even in Christmas week, the post office is hard put to show a profit on the island of Barra. The same story is repeated in any number of remote communities around the country. But by a canny piece of thinking, they've discovered a way to make the postman's delivery van pay for itself by turning it into a bus.
fine. Thank you very much.
At a time when rural bus services are disappearing, the invention of the post bus is also a sublime piece of public relations.
Oh, it's very important because it's the only form of public transport on the island. There are no buses or that, at regular intervals. So everybody makes use of the post bus from when it leaves Castleby right down to Owligery and right down the other side of the island. And it covers the whole island. And it's ideal for people who haven't got their own transport.
It's a very trusted member of the community, the postman.
There's more to it than postman. There's news and whatnot, and what's happening and what's not happening. You're able to find us out from them.
You do look forward to seeing the postman. He's a very sort of welcome sight. You get the news, you get mail if you're lucky. You also get bills which you have to attend when you're not so lucky.
50 years ago, you'd probably have heard much the same thing. But one thing that has changed is the huge growth in mail order. Countrywide, it's now a £500 million annual business for the post office. For the customer on Barra, it's often a lifeline.
Before now, I've been able to go away about twice a year. But since we've had the children now, it's not so easy to go away. And there's no pleasure in going shopping with 2 young children. It's much easier by catalogue. You can get anything for your granny right down to a baby. And toys for the children. It's very important, I think, for the children when it comes to Christmas time.
It's not so bad in the summertime doing it, but when it gets dark here around about 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the winter time, so it can be quite dark when you're delivering the mail. So you have 2 things to cope with: the darkness plus the dogs. The dogs are bad news.
The night mail moves 42 million letters every 24 hours. Round about 5 o'clock every afternoon, 100,000 idle letterboxes suddenly begin to fill up, and postmen in 28,000 vans struggle through rush hour traffic to empty them. Our letter posting habits could hardly make the job more difficult. Any single letter could be destined for any one of 23 million postal addresses in the United Kingdom. The first task is to concentrate the mail in sorting offices. They've become vast letter factories which run 24 hours a day. Only by postponing the handling of second-class mail can the post office keep the workload evenly spread, the evening congestion down to manageable proportions. Night shift work is well paid and good for the pension. So many of the night sorters are older postmen who've served their time on the streets and come in out of the cold.
I think I was born a postman. Somebody's got to be a postman, haven't they? If you didn't like the job, you wouldn't stop in it 26, 27, 28 years, would you? If my boy was leaving school now at 15, there's no way you could say, I'm going to be in the post office 30 years like I'd be. There's no way, because the job won't be there. It'll all be machines. Machines.
The key to mechanized sorting is coding. Operators translate the postcode into a string of blue dots which can be read by machine. No one has yet invented a machine to read human handwriting, but coding machines which read printed addresses already exist. Just one can do the work of 18 human operators.
The only job the machine can't do is walk up and down the garden path, that's all.
7 o'clock, and 80 feet underground, the Post Office Railway is working flat out. It shifts mail between 6 London sorting offices and the mainline stations at Paddington and Liverpool Street. 1/3 of the nation's mail crosses London. A third of that, 40,000 bags a day, travels through these 7 miles of tunnels.
Well, I love the idea of the trains, yes. I rather like the feel of it, the trains and everything. I think it's interesting, It's like having your own big toy train set, isn't it?
Hello everyone, let's do it now. You've got 18 in 14's time.
We're a small section really, haven't we? About 100 odd men, and got a big family and everything,
I think there's a lot of camaraderie down here, everyone seems to stick together. Obviously, we think we're better than ones upstairs, you know what I mean? So we're always waiting for above ground, or we're waiting for them at the top of the left end, or whatever. It's very few occasions they're waiting for us. We're pretty fast service. We're only really used to this side of the operation, railway. If you asked me to sort a letter, I wouldn't have a clue.
It takes only 15 minutes to get mail right across London. In the streets above, traffic crawls at a pace no faster than the horse-drawn carriages which were about when the first tunnel was driven in 1914. Some of the locos have been running since 1933. Many have clocked up 1.25 million miles. (8:15) Newcastle Station. The North East Travelling Post Office, or TPO, takes on the last of its mail. It's one of 40 TPOs that cross the country every night. Tonight, this is the Up, heading towards London. The bright red livery marks it out as the flagship of the TPO fleet.
Two. One. Northeast TPO 3.
The crew work an 8-hour shift without a meal break 5 nights a week. And in the course of that week, they see their families twice for just a few hours. It takes a special type of man.
I've tried to figure it out, and we've got young fellas, we've got old guys, we've got married people, we've got single blokes. And I cannot put my finger on what a TPO type of fella is, but it must be a TPO type, because we're all volunteers and we'll stick it for years and years and years. Your shoes one.
I think the TPO type is, you've got to be a bit of a cowboy and be prepared to live out of a bag and away from home.
I think it's the children really it affects more than anything else. If you've got young children, they miss you. Mine wants another daddy so she can send him to work and keep me at home.
E13 away time. Yes. Oh, I have 3 minutes.
(8:22). First stop Durham, then Darlington, York, Pontefract, Sheffield, Derby, Bedford, Luton and St Pancras.
Coming down from St Pancras, we specialise on Yorkshire, County Durham and Northumberland. And going back up again the other way towards St Pancras, we specialise on counties that's south of Derby. We've then got certain post office services built into our arrival time. I mean, we've got to rely on vans arrival from different places to our route to take the work back again. But the network's built around us. And the other TPOs, of course.
Fathers and grandfathers of these men were crewing TPOs in the year that Grierson's classic documentary Night Mail was made. If they were lucky enough to be in work, that is. If not, they might have been marching from Jarrow. Some things don't change.
We're in a steady, regular job with a steady, regular wage. Means a lot to me when I've got two brothers on the door. Means a lot to me.
Oh, I've got two brother-in-laws on the door and a brother.
I mean, I live in an old mining village, and there's just a lot of people just kind of get work, you know, they're all old miners, and this is nothing there for them.
When I first joined the post office, without a word of a lie, if you walked past the entrance to the post office, there was a bloke sitting on the door and he used to come up and say, "Do you want a job, son?" And it was that easy. No, you can't get a job.
A 150 miles away at Derby, the locomotive that will haul the North East Up TPO on the final leg of its journey is the centre of attention. 50 years after the Grierson film celebrating its night mail operation, the Post Office have got together with British Rail to mark the event.
Do the honours here and name the train Night Mail.
The catching and dispatching equipment, the apparatus as it was known, has long since disappeared. The men who had to work it were glad to see the back of it.
When them poachers come in, they did come in. I mean, if they hit you, they would have killed you. Yeah, simple as that. It was dirty, it was oily, it was greasy, and it was very heavy work.
Especially when in the winter, when you had to open those doors. And you have every door open on that train, and it's burnt along at, say, 70, 80 mile an hour. And the snow's coming in, the smoke off the engines coming in, and it used to be terrible.
We used to tie mailbags round their legs, used to put mailbags on the floor to stand on, just to stop the cold from actually coming up.
From 9:30, Derby Station virtually stops passenger operations to cope with the night mail. Between now and midnight, 9 different postal trains will arrive. They will exchange locomotives, mail, vans, staff and gossip. The fate of 1 million letters depends on Derby's shunting system.
1M58, which is the 2005 from Peterborough to Crewe, arrives in platform 2. The locomotive is uncoupled. 1M36 is booked to arrive into platform 1 at 23:37. And this train normally conveys 10 vehicles which has previously arrived off 1M77 from Lincoln. They are attached to what is now the rear of the Peterborough train. We have the arrival into platform 3 of 1P30, the 2035 from St Pancras to Derby. This train conveys 3 vehicles. The first vehicle and the locomotive are for Leeds, and the rear 2 vehicles are for Derby.
(10:30), East Midlands Airport just outside Derby. Every few minutes, aircraft full of mail touch down, between 15 and 20 on a normal night. They're stripped of their cargo, reloaded and sent on their way. It's known as a hub and spoke operation. From here, the spokes radiate out north to Inverness, Aberdeen and Glasgow, west to Liverpool and Belfast, east to Norwich, south to London, and a string of airports between Newquay and Southend. Flights are timed to connect with the postal trains on Derby Station and with a fleet of road vehicles from nearby towns: Leicester, Coventry, Birmingham, Doncaster, Nottingham and Leeds. This is the heart of the night mail operation.
It all has to gel together. You've got 3 modes of transport, road, rail and air. And if any one of them is out of synchronization, it puts the other 2 into great difficulties. Trains can be delayed, aeroplanes can be cancelled because of weather conditions, vans can break down. So there are contingency plans for every single thing that can go wrong. But it's a very time-critical operation. 5 minutes can make all the difference.
The North East Up is 5 minutes away. From Derby, it'll be another 2.5 hours non-stop sorting into St Pancras. Then a meal, sleep, and a few hours to kill with the rest of the lads.
You get not little individual teams, but you get cliques within the whole team.
I mean, we go playing squash, they go drinking beer.
There's people knock around at weekends together that work together all the week.
I mean, some lads go to the pitches. It all depends what your interest is, you know. It's but we're going squashing tomorrow.
It's approaching midnight. For a moment, for the post office, Derby is the hub of the universe.
At 0010, we have the up postal arriving to platform 6 from Newcastle. This is 1M59, the 2022 Newcastle to St Pancras. This train is a very heavy mail carrier with very tight connections from East Midlands Airport.
Roderick, has all the mail gone up?
Yes, they've had it all.
Yeah. Paul, you've had all the mail.
On platform 4 at 0020 we have 1E04, which is the down postal from St Pancras to Newcastle.
After midnight, down the long platforms spoking outwards from the hub of England, away from where we lie coupling and uncoupling, the unseen industry goes on, the night mail. Work as it sounds, still done by men, most of it. The porters with their mule packs, the sorters at their boxes like bees in a hive or doves in a dovecot. The trolleys skedaddling so that no connection shall ever be missed. Then the dark flickers with the flare of machines, planes moving blindly down the empty air lanes, vans along B roads lit by rabbit's eyes and cat's eyes, trains through cuttings of fennel and elderflower. And like a steamed-up windscreen, slowly clearing, we come out in the glare of morning to this grey mill town, lying under a duvet. Its shuttles stopped. Its industrial vases empty. A town sleeping in, now there's nothing to get up for. Where the streets at dawn used to clatter with the clogs of workers, but are hushed now under the sole tread of the postman, shouldering his burden, more laden by the year, his bag heavy with nuisance mail and useless mail, with offers of free films and ads for double glazing, with flyers for tool hire and come-ons to try us or buy us, a slag heap of bumph or summonses to pay, not what they want here. A bond come up, a job come up, a bigger gyro check. Yet still the heart quickens at the click of the letter flap, the thud on the mat, all of us hunting the authentic handwritten envelope. The letters from pen friends or men friends, the letters from mothers or brothers or lovers, and the hope of that makes the sound of the postman our favorite bird song, his arm reaching to our letterbox, like these trains stretched out along embankments, not juggety-jug now, but smooth with power and self-importance, like flags or streamers blowing ahead of themselves, as we ourselves run on toward the future, its unopened envelope waiting down the line.